Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching and for spending some minutes with me. Today I want to talk about XRP, about its pricing potential, and why I think this is a coin that you should have in your portfolio going forward. I've been buying XRP for a while. I'm going to show you some predictions in a second. But before that, I want to show you why I think it has the potential and what everyone is talking about. So basically, XRP is one of the digital coins. It's native to the XRP Ledger, which is a blockchain technology. And the particularity of this coin is that it's used for payments. You can see that here. So we have many institutions right now, financial services and banks, who are starting to adopt this technology for making payments, between them. And why are adopting this technology instead of Bitcoin for making those payments and for setting up their infrastructure? Well, the reason we can find it here. As we can see, for example, Bitcoin takes about 500 seconds to settle, whilst XRP only takes from 3 to 5 seconds to settle. So this is important for banks because when they are making transfers between one entity to another, they can see the money landing in the destination account much faster than with Bitcoin. The other thing is Bitcoin is a bit more expensive every time they need to make a transfer, whilst XRP is much cheaper. And then also it's more scalable. As we can see here, you can do 1,500 transactions per second, while with Bitcoin, you can only do 3 transactions per second. And the other thing is XRP is more sustainable, which means that it doesn't affect the environment so much. You will find a lot of information on the internet about mining for Bitcoin and how much electricity that is consuming. Right here, they provide some additional information about the use cases. So they say, financial institutions are using XRP and also individual consumers. And if we scroll farther down, there is also some more information about the different wallets that support XRP. I have some other videos in my channel where I show how I transfer money from an exchange to my Ledger USB. And I do that because I want to make sure that going forward, I control my digital account. And then if we scroll farther down, there is additional information here about the different exchanges that allow you to buy or to sell XRP. And actually, I'm using Uphold, which is not here, just because it's much cheaper. So next, before I talk about price predictions, I want to show you this page for a second. So what this is saying, let's read this together, right? So if you invest $1,000 today in the Standard & Poor's 500, and by the way, the value of S&P today is 6,000 points. So if you invest $1,000 here and the market goes up 20% every year until 2030, at the end of this year, you will have $3,000 in your account, okay? And this being very optimistic in the sense that historically the market doesn't grow 20% on a yearly basis. Now, let's suppose now for a second that instead of investing $1,000 in the S&P 500, you invest the $1,000 today in XRP. One coin today is $2.55, and so that means that you would have a bunch of coins. And then let's now come here for a second. Let's suppose that the price in 2030 is one of these prices here, right? So if the price went only to 7.6 per coin, you will still get $3,000 at the end of 2030, okay? Which represents a 20% increase on a yearly basis. Now, the question is, do we believe that at least XRP and some of these other coins, because my strategy is to diversify into different coins for different reasons, but for this one, do we believe that the coin is going to go from $2.5 to $7? I do, and that's why I'm buying some of these coins. Well, we don't know 100%, but because of the reasons I'm going to show you after we finish this page, I'm buying XRPs. And so the thing is, as we said before, the return here is probably capped at 20%, 20, 23, 24%. But the point is, if you go back in time, 20 years ago, things were very different, right? And so 20 years from today, things will be very different as well. And I believe that the coins will be, broadly adopted going forward as a form of payment. So if you believe the same, then you should start buying some of these coins right now before the prices go up. And so, as we said, right, so if the price goes to 7.6, you will be in the same situation. So it's at least, investing $1,000 in some of these coins, it's a bet that I want to make because it's not a huge amount of money. Meaning, Let's suppose for a second that in 2030 the coin goes to 15, right, dollars per coin. Then you would have almost $6,000, which is the double as if you just invested in the S&P 500. Let's imagine for a second that the price goes to 50, right? We don't know what's going to happen. You would have $20,000 for each $1,000 that you invest today. Let's think for a second that the price goes to 500 in the next 6 or 7 or 10 years. Well, you would have $200,000. And so that's the second piece I'm trying to show you here. If you decided to invest $10,000 today, and this coin or maybe some other coin that you invest goes to the stratosphere and goes to 100 or 250 or 500 or 1,000, then you would have $4 million, right? Or you would have $2 million or $1 million or $400,000. Now, the question is this possible at all? Well, Bitcoin is at $100,000 per coin. So again, for $1,000 or maybe $10,000 over the next few years, maybe that's a bet I'm willing to make, because if I invest it in the S&P 500, I know it's going to be just 20, 23, 24% maximum, right? So things can change your life very quickly here, depending on how much you invest today and also how much the price grows. So next I want to talk about price predictions. So we start with this page. As we can see here, this is the trading value of XRP over the past 365 days. And as we were saying, today it's at 255, okay? Now, this is not the first time that this coin has been at this price. So if we go back in time, when it started, it also went more or less to this price, and then it went down, up and down, up and down, and now it's more or less at the same price. Now, I don't do daily trading. I just invest in these coins and I let them run for the long term. And so I think that going forward, this is going to explode and, keep increasing much more, and much more. Now, the reason why this coin has been struggling like this is for a couple of things. It's because it has been battling some legalities with the existing regulators. And so what happened after the election in the US is that the current government is more pro-crypto than the previous one. And that's making investors invest in this coin because they know that if that's the case, then this coin is open for success. If we come to this page, for example, this is an article from Forbes. It describes a little bit what's happened, right? So we have Trump, for example, who's thinking of changing the team behind the SEC and defining a regulator that is more pro-crypto. And you can read the rest of the stuff here if you want. If we come to this other page, for example, this is another article. They talk about potential to reach $25. And if that was the case, right, if this coin went to 25, we would be right here. So every $1,000 would be $10,000. And they provide some information about why this is changing, right? So it's right here. Ripple's partial legal victory over the SEC, which ruled that XRP sales on exchanges are not securities. There is another article here, for example, that talks about predictions for Ripple going forward into 2050. Based on this, it's going to remain more or less into the same existing prices, but then it's going to change at some point. Even talking maybe about in 2040 becoming $160. So again, if this was the case, we would be right here. So every $1,000 that you invest today would be $60,000 in the future, right? And if we come here, and then in 2050, maybe becoming $370 every coin. So if we come here, we would be in this type of scenario, right? So $200,000. But again, if you keep investing on a yearly basis a little bit and you had $10,000, that means that maybe in 25 years' time, when I'm retiring, then I will have $2 million that I could use. So again, we don't know what's going to happen, just showing you here some of the numbers. And there is another one here that talks about the potential of maybe reaching $150 over the next few years. And if we come here, $1,000, 150, that's about $60,000. Okay. So then the next thing I did was to see if really the banks were implementing some of these technologies. And there is a lot of information on Twitter as well. Just be aware that some of the accounts sometimes are just scammers, so be careful with those. But here, for example, this says that all these banks have implemented Ripple and XRP. So, for example, I looked into the first one, which is a Spanish bank and one of the largest European banks, Banco Santander. So I did some search on the internet and this came up. So basically it says Santander launches a blockchain-based foreign exchange service that uses Ripple's technology, which is XRP. And then I also heard that some companies are starting to allow payments in XRP coins. So I went to this portal, for example, it's called Travala, and actually you can start buying hotel stays and flights and activities using XRP. So if, for example, we come here and we say New York to Paris, we say search. I changed up here, instead of dollars, I said XRP. And as you can see, you could now buy a ticket from Virgin Atlantic from New York to Paris, a return ticket that you would just pay 400 XRPs. So I think this is at least some initial validation that this type of payment and society is coming to us. I hope you like this video. If so, please like and subscribe. Any questions or comments, please let me know. Leave a comment into the comments of this video. Thank you so much and talk to you soon.